In the realities of modern warfare, the use of heavy armored vehicles is an ineffective method of achieving objectives. Aerial reconnaissance, which conducts round-the-clock surveillance of the front line, prevents heavy equipment from even reaching the line of contact. As soon as Russian tanks and armored personnel carriers come into view of Ukrainian reconnaissance drones, pilots immediately begin attacking the enemy targets. Even additional armor or protective metal structures cannot shield armored vehicles from destruction. As a result, tanks are turned into heaps of molten metal. It's not easy for the surviving Russian infantrymen who try to hide from Ukrainian drones either. As they run across open terrain, they are practically in the palm of the hands of Ukrainian reconnaissance pilots. Ukrainian drone pilots are ruthless toward Russians on their own land. No Russian soldier was ever invited here, and if they still dare to intrude uninvited, Ukrainian forces unleash true hell upon them. Here is a clear example of why tanks must be completely destroyed, not just damaged. The Russians used one tank to tow another and were pulling it back to a repair base. Fortunately, the kamikaze drone pilots spotted this and quickly took action to neutralize both tanks. Russian Sarai tanks are well protected by additional metal frames, so more kamikaze drones are needed to destroy them. After the third drone strike, which flew inside the tank through the hatch, the tank was finally destroyed and burned. However, the hunt for Russian heavy armored vehicles does not end there. The drone pilots continue to carry out their mission. Here, a Russian tank is trying to escape at full speed from a kamikaze drone strike, but its speed is far too slow compared to that of the drone. After being hit, the tank loses control and comes to a stop, and then another Ukrainian drone strikes it, finishing the destruction. The hunt for Russian tanks ends only when nothing but the glowing, molten remains of Russian equipment are left on the battlefield. This is a fiber-optic drone pilot flying to inspect an old hangar where, according to aerial reconnaissance data, a Russian tank was hidden. The drone pilot carefully and slowly enters the old building, scanning everything around. Upon spotting the target, the pilot cautiously approaches to strike, but a counter-drone net is stretched along the path to the enemy tank. At the last moment, the pilot notices it and maneuvers around, then calmly delivers the strike. With another such drone, Ukrainian pilots are flying to deliver another strike because the tank remained unharmed after the first hit. After the next strike, the tank catches fire and after a while, completely burns down. The pilots of the Magyar birds really enjoy destroying Russian vehicles, Bukanka. Over the past year, the Russians have begun using these vehicles in mass to assault Ukrainian positions. They modify them by cutting off the roof to fit more Russian assault troops inside. But one of the biggest factors is that they have no armor whatsoever. Russian Bukanka are destroyed with a single drone strike, and for the crew inside, the chances of survival are very slim. Here is one of those Russian soldiers who went to fight in Ukraine and realized too late that he had made a mistake. His one-way ticket has been successfully purchased. The Russian doesn't even try to escape from the drone or hit it with some improvised object. He simply sits and waits for his fate. Donetsk region. The Russians are trying their best to capture it, but kamikaze drone pilots are ready for the Russian attacks and always aim to intercept the movements of Russian tanks. This particular Russian tank was also intercepted and destroyed before it could reach the front line. Another tank was already in a combat position, but it was also successfully destroyed. And here, the pilots of the Magyar birds intercept the movements of Russian assault groups. The Russians try to shoot down the drones with assault rifles, but often fail. Here, the Russians dug a deep pit near a captured house to hide a tank. Perhaps they thought Ukrainian drone pilots wouldn't spot their hiding place, but they were mistaken. Moreover, the camouflage was really poor, and finding it was not difficult at all. The drone pilots began attacking the target. After several strikes, a fire broke out in the pit where the Russian tank was hidden, and the tank, along with its camouflage, was burned to the ground. Here is a Russian assault involving tanks and infantry fighting vehicles. The Russians drove along a road that had been mined by the Ukrainians in advance, and as a result, part of the assault group was stopped without much difficulty. However, the Russians decided to continue the assault, so Ukrainian kamikaze drone pilots flew out to meet them and began to conduct targeted strikes. Due to their incompetence, the Russians lost most of their assault group immediately. After that, the kamikaze drone pilots quickly destroyed the remnants of the assault group. The Russian assault ended before it even began. Here, aerial reconnaissance spotted a camouflaged Russian howitzer. After transmitting the coordinates to the Ukrainian artillery, a HIMARS shell was fired at the enemy target, successfully destroying it. During the evacuation of two Russian soldiers who were riding in the back of a Russian vehicle Bukanka, a rather awkward moment occurred. When the vehicle hit a pothole, one of the soldiers was thrown out of the truck bed. That's all for today, friends. Subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with the latest news. Also, share your thoughts in the comments. This material was prepared by Hustler. See you soon.